And what if I told you that by letting go of 90% of your belongings, you could actually become richer? Sounds crazy, right? After all, since childhood, we've been taught that wealth means having a lot. Lots of clothes, lots of gadgets, a new car in the garage, a big house full of things. But what if true wealth was actually about having less? I'm the facilitator, and in today's video, I want to show you how minimalism can be a real path to financial, emotional, and mental freedom. For years, I also believed that accumulating meant success. The logic seemed simple. The more I bought, the more successful I would be. But over time, I realized that this mindset trapped me in a constant cycle of dissatisfaction. I would buy something, feel good for a few days, and soon the emptiness would return. It was only when I started getting rid of the excess, the clothes I never wore, the decorations that only gathered dust, the appliances I didn't even remember owning, that I understood what it means to live a truly rich life. The first big lesson I learned is that wealth isn't about having. It's about being. It's about being present, light, and free. It's about waking up on a Sunday morning and enjoying a peaceful cup of coffee without a head full of bills and regrets. It's about having time to watch the sunset without rushing, to laugh with the ones you love, and to feel at peace wherever you are. But hold on, I know all this sounds a bit too philosophical, so let me show you how minimalism actually transformed my life in practical ways. Let's talk about the minimalist habits that made me richer. And not just in the financial sense. The first habit was redefining what wealth means. I grew up in a family that, from the outside, seemed to have everything. My father was a collector. Watches, perfumes, cars. The house was big, full of toys, clothes, utensils, and everything money could buy. But inside there was a huge emptiness. My father, despite all that, became increasingly unhappy. And it seemed that spending money only made things worse. That experience taught me that it's useless to have a beautiful house if the people inside aren't well. When I became an adult, I decided that my definition of wealth would be different. Wealth for me came to mean being able to buy fresh, healthy food for my family, having time to cook a homemade dinner, living debt-free, and being able to travel without worry. Who cares if my clothes are 10 years old or if half of them came from a thrift store? What matters is the peace that comes with the freedom of not owing anyone anything. And here's the first question for you to reflect on. What does wealth mean in your life today? Is it having more things or having more time, health, and peace of mind? For me today, wealth is time. The second habit that changed everything was learning to calculate my cost per joy. Before, I used to buy without thinking. If it fit the budget, I'd take it. But I started to realize that the price of a purchase isn't just the number on the tag. Every object we bring home costs time, energy, and space. Time to work and earn the money to pay for it. Energy to clean, organize, repair, and store it. And physical and mental space to deal with the clutter. I started asking myself, will this purchase really bring me joy? And for how long? For example, spending money every week on random little things may seem harmless, but by the end of the year, that's a considerable amount. Money that could have been used for something that truly brings happiness, like a pizza night with my wife. Once I started thinking this way, I stopped regretting my purchases. And more than that, I began to feel much more satisfied with the things I consciously chose to own. And you? Have you ever stopped to think how many of your purchases truly bring you joy and how many are just impulse? Another powerful change was learning how to turn clutter into money. When I began decluttering, I had accumulated over 30 years' worth of things: family keepsakes, furniture, sentimental objects. Instead of simply throwing everything away or donating it, I decided to sell part of it as a way to start over. I ended up making a lot of money selling those items online, and It was absolutely worth it. More than the money, the process was therapeutic. I wasn't just letting go, I was giving those things new life, and in the process, reclaiming parts of myself. Today, after nearly 5 years of living minimally, I don't have much left to sell. But that experience taught me something essential. What we call clutter is, in fact, idle money. Every unused object is a missed opportunity to save, to invest, to live more intentionally. The fourth habit is consciously choosing what to own. Everything we have requires some level of care, and every item, no matter how small, occupies a piece of our mind. There's a popular saying among minimalists, "Look around. All that clutter used to be money, and all that money used to be time." That made me deeply rethink my priorities. Now, when I want to buy something new, I ask myself, will this really add value to my life, or will it just take up space? If the answer isn't clear, I simply don't buy it. At this point in my journey, I realized minimalism isn't just about saving money. It's about freedom. When you have less, you free yourself from countless invisible chains. The fear of losing something, the stress of maintaining it, the exhaustion of organizing it. Having less is, in truth, having more. But one of the greatest lessons came with the fifth habit, taking radical responsibility for my own life. For a long time, I believed things happened to me because I was unlucky. I got into bad relationships, needed loans, worked exhausting, underpaid jobs, and I always thought I was a victim of circumstances. Until one day, still very young, I came across a quote by the poet Rumi that changed my life. "Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open?" It hit me like lightning. I realized no one was coming to save me. If I wanted a better life, I had to build it myself. Taking radical responsibility means understanding that I am 100% responsible for my results, for the choices I make, the way I respond to difficulties, and the direction I give my life. It's not a burden, it's liberating. When I understood that, I stopped being a hostage to the past. I faced my traumas, healed from compulsive hoarding, and began living with purpose. Here's another question for you. What in your life today still depends on a change only you can make? Of course, the journey wasn't always easy. Letting go of excess takes courage. It means facing the physical and emotional mess we've been hiding for years. But step by step, I realized that each thing I let go of brought me closer to a lighter, richer life. And interestingly, the more I let go, the more I thrived. I began to have more time to create, more mental clarity, more focus on my projects and relationships. And yes, that also reflected financially. Living with less made me spend less, save more, and invest better. Plus, I learned to value my time. When I needed to renovate my house, for example, I hired freelancers online, talented people who delivered amazing work for a fraction of what I'd pay big companies. That showed me that minimalism is also about optimizing resources, not just cutting costs. Over time, I realized that true wealth lies in the small things money can't buy. The joy of opening the door and seeing my dog happy, the pleasure of a simple dinner, the feeling of waking up in a home that truly reflects who I am. Minimalism isn't about living with the bare minimum. It's about living with what's essential. In the end, living with less is a way of saying yes to life. Yes to more time, more peace, more freedom. Yes to experiences, memories, and genuine connections. It's learning to spend consciously, not just money, but energy and attention. So if you feel like you're always chasing something but never feeling satisfied, maybe it's time to stop and ask yourself, what really matters to you? What can you let go of today to make room for what truly has value? Minimalism isn't about living without. It's about living with purpose. It's about making conscious choices and appreciating what you already have. And believe me, life becomes much richer when you stop measuring wealth by things and start measuring it by freedom, time, and inner peace. And to finish, I want to leave you with one final thought. Everything you own comes at a cost. And that cost isn't just money. It's the time of your life you trade to have it. So choose wisely what's worth your time, your space, and your energy. If this video inspired you in any way, tell me in the comments. What's the first thing you would let go of today to live a lighter life? And what does wealth mean to you? Time, money, or freedom? Maybe you'll discover that in the end, true wealth isn't about having more, but about needing less.